Hello. Today I want to discuss Donald Trump. Yes, I admit I voted that man. Yes, I admit I loved that man. I was in love with that man. I worshipped that man. But only one aspect of him. I liked his attitude and I liked his energy in dealing with radical Islam. That I applaud him. However, little did I know that here you have a businessman, a billionaire, who knows nothing about politics. He knows nothing about strategy, nothing about intelligent negotiation. And therefore, he went in there like a bull in a china shop. Crazy, irrational, and creating a lot of international problems. Before Donald Trump wanted to use China to do his dirty work, he had nothing good to say about China. Nothing good. I'm not sure whether Chinese people have a very bad memory. I'm not even sure if the Chinese people were paying attention when Donald Trump was trying to become president. He had nothing good to say about Chinese people. Give me 2 seconds.
Whether it's making sexual innuendos about other politicians, or saying China is raping the United States.
We can't continue to allow China to rape our country, and that's what they're doing.
And who's to...
If you have a best friend and you accuse your best friend of putting their fingers in your pie, in your wealth, you're not best friends. You're supposed to share. That's what friends do. You know, my best friends, not all of them, some of them, have keys to my property. They can come and go as they please. Come and make dinner, whatever. If I'm not in, they can come. That's how much I trust them. They can come and make dinner, feel at home. That's friendship. If I accuse them of coming in and threatening my resources, then that's not friendship. That's something else. The people behind Donald Trump, they clapped, yeah, China is raping our resources. Oh, China's doing this, China's doing that. But now, overnight, this same hungry dragon, they now are using for their own dirty cause. They say, oh, we're tough, we're violent, we're number one, the best military power in the world. We dropped the mother of all bombs on Assad, or Syria, the mother of all bombs. Yet your mother of all bombs are not good enough. You have to bring in China to do your dirty work. And Japan, make your mind up. Either they're your friends, and if you're friends, share booty, share the loot. Be prepared to suffer profit loss. If they're your friend, be prepared to have war against the dollar or your enemies. Because what will happen is, if my prediction is right, North Korea and China and Japan, the Asian country, will kick off while the Americans who started it sit on their lazy ass. If the Asians are too stupid, if they're too stupid to can't see what's going on with Western imperialism, then they're not intelligent as I thought. So all of a sudden Donald Trump, same thing with Putin, same thing. This man should not be a leader. I loved him. I was in love with him. I want a strong man to deal with Islam. But no. He's like a headless chicken. He hasn't got a clue what he's doing. It's the same strategy. Same. You don't know who your friends are. You're selling them out. Let me give an example of selling your friend out. Do you remember Tony Blair with Gaddafi? Watch this. They were having a dance. Tony Blair was having a romantic dance. Here it is. I don't want to accuse Tony Blair of being a homosexual, but he was standing close in embrace, standing like lovers, standing close. But notice he was sniffing like a rabbit. He was sniffing. I'll tell you what he was sniffing at. Good oil. He could smell oil on Gaddafi. He could smell good oil. And that's why he was prepared to betray his friend, betrayed him, his benefactor, his ally. The West cannot be trusted. And he betrayed him in the end. It was okay to have a good romantic dance for the time being. Good romantic dance. But while he was dancing, he was sniffing. He was sniffing. The oil plant, the oil field, he could smell oil on him. Like a gold digging. Like a gold digging babe. Like a woman's a gold digger. And she says she loves you, but her eyes on your wallet. That's the West. We love you, but the eyes is on the prize, the oil field. And same as Donald Trump. Sniffing around China, sniffing around, smelling nuclear weapons, their rockets, what multi-power they've got, sniffing around. But really, they're ready to sell them out, sell them out. That's the history of the Western legacy. Make friendship and then sell you out. The Western world, the leaders, don't believe in friendship. They'll stab you back like Judas stabbed Jesus in the back. It makes me want to cry. Please, I'm going to cry for a second, please. Bear with me while I cry. Bear with me. Lament for the world. Lament, lamentation, a sorrow of melancholic tune. This is what the West think of their friendship. Make friends today, stab them in the back tomorrow. If you want to build friendship with Britain and America, then you're a fool. Like Gaddafi, they're sniffing him all over, sniffing him. And then like Caesar and oh, what's his name? Mark Antony and Caesars. He's that happy dagger in my side. Look at his dagger, where does it come from? His own best friend. Caesar, Mark Antony, stabbed him in his side, pretending I had your back all along. His own soldier, pretending he had his back. The all that was plotted against him to kill him. So Donald Trump, all of a sudden he's pretending now, China, we're good friends. But plotting that China Japan do his dirty work because you're a coward. You ain't that tough. Vietnam nearly crucified you. Even now, let's talk 1950s. Let's talk about Vietnam. Even now, in the movies, they whipped your ass. They gave you a bloody nose. And you know North Korea don't mess about. Look at Iraq. Baby Iraq. You had to bribe the generals. Shh. Let me get some sweeties. Let me get some, like, you know, Fagin and Oliver Twist. You had to bribe the generals, and that's why you're able to take over Iraq in less than 2 seconds. The army had no solidarity, the army had no integrity, and that's the reason why you bribe them. You're so tough. But you bribe the generals. Oh, I want to see you do North Korea. You want to bring on World War III? You want to bring it on World War III? We all go down the trenches. You ain't man enough. You ain't tough enough. Oh, if the China don't come on our side, we'll go alone. You a news army. Your soldiers overweight. They're fat. They come back with mental problems. One little bomb, and they come back with mental problems, kill their wives, they come back pedophiles. You a news army. How tough is your army? Your army ain't tough. Your army's pampered. North Korea, they live on beetles, live off the land, eat trees and crocodiles. If you could take them on. No, and that's the reason why you're begging China to come with that Far Eastern martial arts, that Far Eastern discipline. After you insulted them, you said they're raping your resources, raping your land. Do you change your mind, Donald Trump? Have you changed your mind? As I said, I'm on your side when it comes to kicking out the Muslims. Get the Muslims out. But this, I am against you. Totally against you.
Squad of anti-aircraft guns. But despite the setbacks, the North says it's almost ready to test its first missile capable of reaching the United States. Even if this is just big talk, one thing is clear. Our military does not currently have the ability to stop the North's nuclear weapons program. After it successfully launched a satellite in 2016, it now may be able to strike targets up to 4,000 miles away. That not only puts South Korea and Japan well in range, but also India, parts of northern Australia, US bases in the Pacific, and even Anchorage. But to hit the American mainland, they'll need to bust out the big boys. US intelligence estimates the North has 6 KN-08s and is developing an upgraded version called the KN-14. Neither has been tested yet, but both could theoretically hit us here in the States. To defend against this type of intercontinental ballistic missile threat, we have a multi-layered, partially land-based missile defense system protecting the US mainland and our allies. But those systems have never been tested in live combat, have had high failure rates when tested so far, and would likely fail against a barrage of more than a handful of missiles. President Obama was so concerned by the situation, he warned President Trump that this was the most urgent problem confronting the United States. So what exactly are Trump's options? Option number 1 has just been taken. Deploy the THAAD missile defense system to South Korea. The Terminal High Altitude Area Defense gives the Pacific Alliance another layer of protection against ballistic missiles alongside their existing Patriot systems and Aegis-equipped naval destroyers. By placing THAAD so close to the North, the US, Korea, and Japan have instantly enhanced their ability to track and respond to missile launches. But China is protesting the move, saying it's common knowledge that the monitoring and early warning radius of THAAD reaches far beyond the Korean Peninsula and compromises China's strategic security. They argue THAAD's deployment could set off an arms race in the region, but this seems hypocritical considering how much China, as the North's lone ally and largest trading partner, has already enabled its erratic behavior, not to mention China's rapid militarization of the South China Sea. Option 2 is for Trump to double down on Obama's effort to sabotage North Korea's missile tests. But this strategy could have unintended consequences if it emboldens Russia and China to try and disrupt US launch systems. Option number 3 is to put more diplomatic pressure on the North through China. This interview from last year offers some insight into how Trump views this approach.
North Korea's nuclear effort is the top threat to the United States. What would you do to deal with that reclusive country?
I would get China to make that guy disappear in one form or another very quickly. And let me tell you, people say,
how do you make him disappear and assassinate him?
Let me just tell you, no, well, you know, I've heard of worse things, frankly. I mean, this guy's a bad dude. But we have a lot of power over China. Don't underestimate.
Option number 4 is bold. to put nuclear weapons back in South Korea in hopes that the doctrine of mutually assured destruction would serve as a check against the North. This would probably just provoke the North's weapons pursuit, while suddenly ending the decades-old US policy favoring nuclear disarmament, with significant consequences around the world. Lastly, option number 5 is the most risky and aggressive, preemptively striking the North. President Obama considered this option, but ultimately concluded that accurately targeting the North's constantly moving leadership and weapons would be nearly impossible. The risks of a miss were way too high. Any attack that didn't immediately defeat the regime would be guaranteed to start a war, with horrific consequences for millions of people on the entire peninsula, especially for the South if China rushed to the North's defense. And even if the regime was defeated, you'd then own the fates of the 25 million North Koreans, many of whom would pour over the borders into China and the South. We'll know sooner rather than later which steps the US government takes in this high-stakes showdown, but I want to know which options you think President Trump should pursue and which ones you think he will pursue. Two very different questions. I loved interacting with your comments on our two-parter about the countries with the most and least wealth at the top 1%. Victor agreed his country has problems. We had suggestions to use the Gini coefficient to rank countries on equality, and we started a bunch of conversations about the evils of uneven wealth distribution. Until next time, for TDC, I'm Bryce Plank.